CBS Sports, home of March Madness. The Masters, the PGA Championship, PGA Tour, SEC football, the NFL, and February 3rd, Super Bowl 53.
Two teams, one dream. Utah face New Orleans, but only one can keep their championship dreams alive. It's time for Major League Rugby. Zions Bank Stadium will play host to this Week 9 clash as the Warriors take on the Gold live on CBS Sports. Very good afternoon. Welcome to Salt Lake City. Dan Powell with you alongside Brian Hightower. And Brian, in life, as in rugby, motivation comes from inspiration or desperation. For both these sides, a healthy dose of both those here today.
Well, we'll start with desperation, Dan, and NOLA Gold need to come in today and play like they have absolutely nothing to lose. And if you're the Utah Warriors, look, it couldn't be any better scripted for them. 2 games at home to round out the season. You win, you're in. I like the Warriors today.
Well, we'll take a look at those standings. Both these sides under the yellow line at the moment, Brian.
Absolutely, and you look at NOLA Gold down there at 6th place, and they need a whole lot of help even if they win. And Utah, like I said, you win, you're in. There's a whole lot of rugby left to play in this Major League Rugby season, but Utah controls its own destiny.
Well, for more on the home side Warriors, we welcome the third member of our side, Stacey Pates, who's with their fullback, Don Party.
Don Potty has called Utah home for more than a decade. It's going to be exciting to watch him out on the pitch today. I want to talk about your attack mentality. What goes through your brain? Because you only play at one speed when you have a high kick in the back.
Yeah. I just have to make sure I catch the ball first. So that's the most important part. And then having the good options, having a look and see if there's an option to run. And if not, then usually, since we're that far back, we usually try to kick. So, but I mean, when I have the chance to run and make the most of it.
Where'd your speed come from?
I'll say my dad. I just beat my dad in a race after high school. So if you imagine going through high school and can't beat your dad, that's kind of embarrassing.
We'll talk about that more off camera. Well, there's going to be another one of his guys that has been like a brother to him since college. He's going to be another factor in today's game.
The man Stacey's referring to is Tonata Lauti, played at the University of Utah with Don Potty. They communicate almost telepathically. He's become one of the best finishers in Major League Rugby. And as for the forwards, keep your eyes on number 2, Lote Tuipulotu, a human tree stump. He's difficult to tackle with the ball in hand, and he has excelled in the set piece. Let's take a look at the rest of the lineup by Nui Social. Number 11, Fatu'u Vainikolo. 28 caps for Tonga, also dangerous on the wing today. And Dan, they come against a desperate side from NOLA Gold and a rare start at number 8 for one of their leaders.
Well, for me, this guy is rugby personified. He's everything I would have wanted in a teammate. He's tough, relentless, and passionate. Matt Houston. He shifts to number 8 today, like you said, but the 28-year-old from North Carolina, I expect him to excel, dare I say, dominate in his new role. As we take a look at the rest of the NOLA lineup, brought to you by Tullamore Dew. 3 new faces in the starting 15 for Nate Osborne's side this week, along with Tonga Wea shifting back to his preferred number 6 jersey. Bobby Johns, he gets a start at outside centre, with Michael Basker returning to resume his custodian roles at fullback. Well, folks, it's all on the line here. Will the Warriors regain their top 4 spot, or do New Orleans spring an upset and keep their playoff hopes alive? The snow-capped mountains of Utah will play host, and we'll find out as the first half kicks off right after the break.
Major League Rugby on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Nui Social. Major League Rugby on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Nui Social. Warrior fans, it's time to rock and roll with Nui and get on your way to financial freedom. Go to nui.social for more information. Proud partner of the Utah Warriors. By Intermountain Sports Medicine. Healthcare how, where, and when you want it. Intermountain Sports Medicine. HealingForLife.com. And by Big D Construction, providing unparalleled construction management, design, build, and general contracting services for 50 years.
And welcome back to Zions Bank Stadium, moments away from the first half kickoff. Here as the Warriors take on NOLA Gold in a do-or-die clash. There is our head referee, Derek Summers. He'll be in charge today, Brian, and a pretty cool hand for such a big game.
Indeed. And to me, the key for NOLA is they got to start better than they did last week at home, Dan. They were buried inside their 22-meter line almost the entire first half. They got to do better in the possession game.
And it's the right boot of Johnny Lenahan that gets this one underway. Week 9 of Major League Rugby. As NOLA Gold will get first use of the ball outside of their own 22 here. And you talked about do or die. It really is for NOLA Gold. Not only do they need the bonus point win, they need a lot of things to go their way. And that is not going their way out in the full. It'll come all the way back here. An early opportunity for the Warriors to attack just outside the 22.
And to me, this is representative of, is your whole team switched on? If you carry the ball back inside the 22 and then kick it out, then it yields this advantageous line out for Utah. I think NOLA's got to up their intensity and their focus.
As the Warriors go quick, first inside center, Duiniao. He gets a touch in the absence of Lasike on international duties, along with Morath with Tonga. It's a different 10-12 combination here today. Lenahan, he'll be better for the hit out against Austin 2 weeks ago. That's him with the ball now. As he picks up McClellan, the offload to Tamalau. That's knocked down by New Orleans, so it'll be play on. There's Tikasuva. He's able to capture possession here for New Orleans. Falcon, oh, big hit. Hooker on hooker action there. As Tui Pelotu comes up. It's just an early reminder of how difficult it can be playing here at the home of the Utah Warriors.
Well, a breather after an intense first minute and a half. Dan, one of the things I've seen, if you're NOLA, you got to stop having to use three people for every single tackle. These guys from Utah are big, but you got to be able to make those head-to-head tackles.
And there you see, Brian, that 50-50 pass from McClellan, just not going to hand. And you and I talked about this a little bit, the issues at the line-out. Utah very well built in Jensen and Cullen. Really struggled to find a big target for New Orleans, and they've lost their first throw on their own possession. There's Duiniao. He's tackled right on the 50-meter line here for the Warriors. Nichols finds a waiting Lenahan. No surprise that he will rely heavily on the boot. He played 4 years at BYU as their starting punter. There's Basker. Good to see Basker back in the 15 jersey. He was missed last week against San Diego down there in New Orleans. Falcon with another touch, wisely avoiding Tui Pelotu this time, Falcon. That's Messi at the back.
On the side, came around.
There you hear Summers' side entry there, Brian. That's an easy penalty for NOLA to get out of their own end.
Well, and you got to be a little bit more disciplined if you're Utah. One of the concerns from the very beginning of the season that we saw is a team that was penalized quite often, this Utah team. They've gotten better as far as discipline goes, but that's an indication that they need to be a little bit smarter around the breakdown.
Inside center, Taylor Howden is able to pick up about 20 meters there with the kick. They'll have another line out, this time in the Warriors half. There's Falcon on your screen there. Big job for him with this throw. This time Bursick's the target, and he's picked up. The Gold pushing forward through the middle, using the forwards effectively as they go over the 40-meter line.
Knock on.
And the handling error. And these are the little things that have stuck into their game in this opening stanza here, Brian. The kick out in the full, now the knock on. They can't afford any of this.
Indeed.
Left.
And NOLA, you get a sense, Dan, through this first year of the MLR, a team still trying to find itself and its identity in the forwards. We talk about their bodies. Biden's across the front with Tar and Falcon. Sometimes Eric Howard when he's not called up for Canadian national team duties. They have good personnel. It just seems like they...
Ball at the back. Nichols finds Lenahan. They'll attack. Tuinyao. Big gap for Tuinyao. He's got support both sides. Finds his fullback in Putty. Putty's got support in Loudy. Will he leak the goose step? Don Putty. He goes 60 in the crowd. They've gone absolutely bananas here in Utah.
Well, how about that break by A.J. Tuinyao? And we talked about him in the opening stanza. Don Putty and Tonata Lauti was an option if he needed him. Didn't need him that time. Wide open spaces for Don Putty to run into, and you can't give a person like Putty that much space.
Well, he said he couldn't beat his dad until after high school. Mr. Putty, he must be quite a speed demon himself, because Don Putty puts on the afterburners. Bryant, it was a great set piece. Even better ball from Lenahan.
Well, this is the kind of set piece where you look for where the tackle was missed here. Big looping pass out the back door. And then the center, it looked like Bobby Johns normally plays wing, but Johns asked to play outside center, and he gets stretched, just basically bit on that big looping pass, didn't come out and tackle his man, and that's why 2-0 had so much space to run into.
Well, the number 13, the outside center, often considered the most difficult channel to defend in rugby because it is a big time pressure defensive situation there. And John's poor read on that one as Lenahan, he gave the service to Tuinyao, and now he'll look to convert. Great strike, and Breeze takes it across the face, unsuccessful. 5 points to 0. What a great start for the Warriors.
Another look there, 2-0, and a great pass too, streaking Don Putty. And then look at the option on the right, and he says, no thanks, buddy. Don't need you this time. Tackling an issue last week in New Orleans, already an issue here in Salt Lake City.
And this Warriors side, they can turn 5 points into 50 if you blink. New Orleans will have to get their structure here. That kick from Howden, very deep indeed.
You want to scrum or re-kick?
All the way over the top. Let's go down to Stacey Pates with a little more info from the try scorer there, Don Putty.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned what he said about his father. How appropriate that it's Father's Day weekend, and he got his speed mostly genetically from his dad. But I also talked to him about where that speed comes from, and no one runs a diagonal line quite like Don Putty. And I said, is that training? Is that dad? He just started laughing. He's like, I don't know. I think I'm just really fast. But we'll see. We haven't seen the diagonal line yet. Watch for that because it is impressive. The kid is crazy fast.
Yeah, thanks, Stacey. His lateral movement across the field is something from his 7s days. It's very, very impressive. It would be a horrible situation one-on-one with Don Putty.
I think Mom's getting short shrift here. I'd like to hear from her as well. Maybe she has something to do with it.
Well, Father's Day weekend. We've got to give him his,
give him
his
a
light while he
tip
has
of the
it.
hat to Mr. Putty.
No.
There's now the Warriors with their captain, Uhila. Sayo Uhila. He's a walking eclipse, that man. An absolute giant.
Play on.
And the Warriors, well, this is worrying signs for New Orleans as the Warriors continue to push forward. Below 2 now, the hooker. He's inside the 40.
Dan,
Let it come, just let it come.
sometimes in American football you hear a stat called yards after contact, and one of the things that you're seeing with these Utah players is they get hit, then they keep running.
Well, how about the start for Tuinyao? Now he finds his fullback. Can he get a brace? He can get a brace. That one is for Mum. The first one for Dad. Don Putty, he's on fire. Tuinyao, the provider, yet again.
Not bad. The brace after 8 minutes. Great job by Putty and 2-0 on the link up. But really, for me, Dan, credit some of the running by the forwards. They're sucking in so many defenders from this NOLA Gold side that there's gonna be space to exploit on the corner, and that's exactly what happens once again.
Well, it looks like Tonga loses his footing. Yes, he does. Tonga, he slips there as he comes up out of the line.
But look at who the defenders are. Look at the numbers on the jerseys. Number 3, number 6, number 2 out there trying to defend a bunch of backs. It's never gonna work.
And Brian, that comes down to realignment, doesn't it?
Realignment, which starts with communication, and you start playing a lot of defense, Dan. As you know, it's difficult. It taxes the body a little bit more, and NOLA Gold better do something quick to right the ship.
Well, the Warriors at the moment better than a point a minute as that conversion is successful from Lenahan. 12 points to 0. What a start here for Utah.
And they're doing this all without really, you could make the case that their star player, Paul Lasike, not available today, playing against Scotland tonight on CBS Sports. And Dan, this might be a little bit of a statement by this Utah team. They seem to be on the ascendancy as far as their trajectory goes. If you're another team in the MLR looking at the semifinals, you can't overlook Utah right now.
Certainly not. They have firepower 1 through 15. They have a pretty deep bench as well, considering the injuries they've had here early in the season. As Howden's kick goes over the top. Lauti under pressure. Ducks under the tackle of Houston. Does well there, the right winger. As Nichols shifts it across field. Elkington, McClellan spills that one forward. And this is always the worry with Utah. When they get a lead, they get ahead, they start to get a little careless with possession. McClellan there with a loose carry.
For NOLA Gold, this is the time for the veteran players. Biden's in the front, Taylor Howden in the backs to settle everybody down. They only need one good thing to happen right now for this whole game to turn around. That could come with this territory in the Utah half.
Crouch.
Hey, watch the blindside wing. I know, watch the blindside.
Fine.
Wing. Pete, just stay left. John, stay right with me.
Sit.
Holden Youngert has the feed for New Orleans. Ball to back with Houston. Good scrum here from New Orleans.
No, it's just standing up and going sideways.
As we'll reset this, the scrum almost crabbing its way across field there towards the center of the field, Brian.
And it looked like the referee was going to allow the ball to be played. It looked like it had come to the back, and then it got trapped underfoot once again. Really no advantage there, and so as it crabbed across, couldn't get the ball out. That's why Summers resets it.
Come on, boy. Have him, go, have him.
Crouch.
And for New Orleans, the goal here would be to reel the scrum a little bit to their right to take away that open side flanker from Utah. They actually went the opposite way, made life very difficult for themselves. As that one comes straight down, ball to back playable though. Houston finds Youngert. Eloff midfield, Howden short to Johns. He'll be looking to get a positive touch after that early defensive lapse. Now Eloff, Basker. I like the looks of this young Michael Basker at fullback. There's Bursick. He goes up to the 22 of the Warriors, and it's turned over with Elkington to Iniao. He's taken just short of the 40. Turnovers really haunting New Orleans here as Nichols looks for open pastures. Jonzo does well the outside center. This is where he's at his best, open field, but Nichols, crunching tackle from the scrum half, brings Johns down.
Play on, it's out.
Can New Orleans get something going in attack? They've got the numbers to the right here. Eloff finds Workin. And you mentioned, Brian, that he's been brought back in the side with the sole purpose of solidifying the line-out for New Orleans.
Yeah, and another knock-on, though, from NOLA Gold. So just when they get the ball across the halfway line once again, they spill it.
Now Nichols to his right. Lenahan, midfield. Tucci, great pickup from the big man. That was a tough pass. Now Lenahan again. Floats one wide. Cullen, there's some space. Cullen. Oh, Cullen with the dummy. How about that from the magician in the 6 jersey? Now Nichols, back to the middle. McClellan, better carry from number 3. Now Tuipulotu, very quick. He scored some tries. Nichols. Oh, Nichols almost snipes his way through. Pushes a 50-50, and that's turned over. New Orleans, they are absolutely scrambling here, Brian.
And Utah could have had another try there, running and gunning, and sometimes you throw those 50-50 balls because the confidence starts to build. Nichols should have held on to that last possession, set up a ruck, and then given it to the backs out left. But so far, when NOLA has the ball, they're running straight into black jerseys. They got to start changing the angles, trying to hit half gaps and maybe open up some spaces for them, but you're not going to be successful running straight into the Warrior defensive line.
Crouch. Fine. Sit.
New Orleans again with the scrum, this time just outside their own 5-meter line, under pressure. They go back. Eloff on the run. Gets that one off the right boot. JP Eloff. Not a lot of territory gained there, just outside the 22. And you've got Jensen and Cullen, two very big targets in this line-out.
And so far, a lot of confidence that we've seen when the ball shifts from Linehan out to 2-0 at inside center. But maybe the driving maul this time, a little bit of work for the forwards.
Great spoil from Houston. Comes down with the Warriors, though. Duiniao. He slices through. Paul Asike's sitting down in Houston watching this game.
Doesn't have the
The
ball.
inside center has filled his big shoes very, very well early on here. There's McClellan. Inside the 22. They have numbers both ways. Lenahan wants it to the left. Inside Zaire. There's Falmasili. It was well defended, though. New Orleans shut that gate effectively. Now, Damalau. Again, we talked about those 50-50 passes. Cullen shovels one on now. It's picked up by Houston. Houston, he's got some space. He needs some support. He finds it in Ben Tar. He wanted another number on that jersey, not the big front rower in Tar. And now they go wide with another opportunity. Howden, Johns, one more pass. Now they go wide out to the winger in Malpin. Malpin's got some space. Jensen covering. And the kick goes over the sideline. Better stuff from New Orleans, though.
Indeed, Maupin would love to have that one back. Straight into touch goes the ball. A little bit of pressure there on the touchline. That's one you got to eat. He's got support on the inside. Sometimes you just got to take a hard step off the touchline and set up another phase. But I like the expansive play there by Houston and how about Ben Tar trying to roll over a couple of Utah defenders. There is space out there if they can get some more transition attack opportunities. Maupin got to cut either back inside or keep that one. Better stuff from NOLA Gold.
There's a great chase from number 4 in Jensen. He takes that line out as well. Duiniao puts Falmasili under some pressure. Again, the 50-50 pass not on. Tonga with the turnover. Eloff, the little kick through, needs the bounce. Eloff. It beats him to the sideline. But Alf Daniels needs to get a message out to his side just to relax. Get back to opening 10 minutes of rugby they played. It was very effective, and not throw these silly passes.
We've seen a couple of crash balls from NOLA Gold, 12-13, putting Bobby Johns into some contact. And really, we talked about Johns and his difficulties in defense because he normally plays wing for NOLA. The same is true of the number 13, Falmasili, playing for Utah. Maybe they should exploit their number 13 and have some space there.
Well, the turnover comes from NOLA Gold. They may have gifted it right back to the Warriors.
On the floor. Knock on.
They almost do, but the knock-on will be a scrum here for New Orleans. And that front row of Biden's Tar and Falcons seems to have the upper hand slightly early on, Brian.
Yeah, I was just going to say, though, the last scrum down here deep, it was a stalemate, although they did get steady, good, workable ball for Linehan to kick it into touch. This is one that they need. Of all the scrums in the first 18 minutes of play, this is the scrum they need. Yeah, as you take a look at number 8, Matt Houston, he's lined up on the left-hand side here, trying to get the wheel, perhaps.
There is that steady ball at the back for Houston, and that's the wheel they're looking for. You see them pushing it to the right. They pick up and go. Houston reaches out. There's a try for Matt Houston, and just like that, a glimmer of hope for New Orleans. They're right back in this one.
Well, great stuff, and a good heads-up play there by Houston. You could see him shift on the scrum, and that was so that you could get a little bit more push on the wheel towards the right. Of course, the ball comes back cleanly for Houston. He's only got one man to beat, stretches over, and dots one down. Nice little nuance there in the scrum. It works out well for the Gold, and we talked about only needing one good thing to happen. Perhaps that was it for NOLA.
He's a guy who...
Again, look at the positioning there. Sorry, Dan. Number 8, he's on the very left-hand side instead of between the two locks. And he's just pushing towards the right. And too much to ask from the blindside winger to not allow T to take down the big man wearing the number 8 for NOLA Gold.
Great play from Houston at the back. I think you mentioned he started in the backs. He's transitioned his way into the forwards, and that's a tough transition to make. He has really handled it well over the last few years.
Just good in the tight phases, the contact area, good with ball in hand. That's a difficult task. He made it look easy, but be able to pick that ball up in a moving scrum and handle it cleanly and then make that move inside to score. He would have been formidable as a center as well. Wouldn't want to tackle the big number 8 from NOLA Gold. A good job by Houston to get NOLA back into this thing.
Yeah. Take water break as well. Sorry.
And
Substitution.
we will take a short break as the players will get
Water
hydrated.
break, fellas.
Warm conditions, obviously, as we are in
Take
mid-June
water.
here, the middle of summer in Utah. When we return, the first half continues here. A try for New Orleans gets them back into this one. It's 12 points to 5. The home side Warriors, they started strong. Can they finish strong? We'll find out right after the break. And welcome back, Zions Bank Stadium. Quick water break there as the mercury is just creeping its way up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And warm conditions, especially on the turf field here as well. A little spicier than normal.
NOLA used to some hot temperatures, and I think Utah hoping that they start to suffer a little bit from the altitude as well. NOLA's got to go uphill just to get to sea level, and it's 5,000 feet here at Zions Bank Stadium. So perhaps one of the elements that might play a factor, especially in the second half.
And it is a great crowd that's turned out here today. All packed in on the nice shady side here of Zions Bank Stadium. And you see the fans coming out. Utah, long been a hotbed for rugby in the United States, and it continues to grow here with the Utah Warriors. And it would get a real boost if they can get those wins you talked about and get into that top 4.
And really another mental mistake by Utah at the restart. And sometimes if you allow a team to stick around, then they'll respond in kind.
That is 100% right, Brian. You see that all the time. You have an opponent that you have pretty much down and beaten. All they need is an opportunity, and you know, if Rocky series has taught us anything, never rule out the underdog.
The great documentary series.
Falcon comes wide. Tikasuva dancing down the sideline to it now. I think his boot may have just touched the paint.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Tikasuva actually touched the line earlier, but another nice set of passes from NOLA Gold, and now they pin Utah deep in their own territory. Looks like went off a Utah player, so more good news for the NOLA Gold.
Falcons throw, picks up Houston at the back, the try scorers. They try to get the maul going here outside the 22. The Warriors forwards quite non-committal at the moment. Now they come in force to try to stop the flow here. The advantage for the goal as Youngett shifts it to his right. Drop goal coming off the boot of Elof. He likes it. He turns it back and runs back. 3 points on the board for New Orleans. And you talk about one good thing, it starts to snowball now, Brian. There's another 3 points for them, and they are creeping their way back into this.
Well, look at the sequence. Off the restart, a mistake on the kick, so a free kick, or sorry, a scrum at halfway. The forwards take over. Then the line out. The forwards take over again, and in the pocket is Elof, and he's got a penalty advantage. He's got a free shot to make those 3 points, and he executes.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of fans tuning in remember the great Doug Flutie drop goal. This is a lot prettier than that one. Lovely strike from Eloff, splits the post there, and that is 3 points on the board for New Orleans.
And a second mistake on the kick, doesn't go 10 meters. Johnny Linehan out there making his case, but it wasn't NOLA that touched it first, it was Utah. So again, another scrum from center for the gold.
And Brian, you just have to wonder tactics-wise, this is where an experienced head like Lasike can pull the players in, calm them down. Kurt Morath, exactly the same. They've seen this. They've been in this situation numerous times and fought back. Who does Utah need to get them refocused here and back on point?
Well, it's got to come from Tamalau at the back, I think, wearing the number 8 for Utah.
As Eloff showing all the skills he can run, kick and pass. They come down the blind side. Houston, another touch. Big fan of Matt Houston. You know exactly what you're going to get for 80 minutes from Matt Houston. He's just going to go all day. He's like a big diesel engine. He just runs all day long. As Eloff again challenging the line there. Howden passes early. Basker. Tikasuva, Tuinyao. This time there's no doubt about who went over the sideline. It's Tuinyao. He belts the New Orleans winger.
2 people have touched it, it's off.
When you can, get in the east. Barry, look at the front.
Well, shipping that ball out to Tikoi Suva, and that's the second time we've seen the same result. Tikoi Suva on the corner and Tuinyao coming over to force him out. In effect, a turnover. I mean, you get a little bit of territory out of it, but if you're NOLA Gold, you just gave up a good possession.
Great flat ball there. Now Falmasili. He returns the favor as they go wide now to Vainikolo. His first touch of the game out there, Fetz Vainikolo. Middle of the field, Nichols. Handling error from the Warriors.
Well, if you're Alf Daniels, the head coach for Utah, you got to be shaking your head right now. How many chances are you going to give them inside your own half? Lots of mistakes coming from Utah now. After a blistering start, Dan, they're starting to fall apart a little bit mentally.
Well, I talked about desperation and inspiration. Desperation's not the greatest motivator ever. You'll do it because you have to do it. Inspiration, you do it because you want to do it. And right now, the Warriors, they have all the motivation they need with a playoff spot on the line and just not taking advantage.
A clear view from the broadcast booth of head coach Alf Daniels, just a couple windows over from us, and he looks a little bit nervous right now.
It's a combination of nervous and angry, I think. It's a dangerous mixture most coaches go through at some point in their career. There's the gold. I'm sure those emotions will change if New Orleans can get more points on the board right here. And they are looking threatening as their forwards are starting to find those gaps that you talked about, Brian. No longer running directly at black jerseys, starting to pierce through that defensive line. Youngett picks up working. Very patient stuff here from New Orleans. There's the penalty. You would think another 3 points here would bring them to within one off the Warriors. We'll go down to Stacey. Pates with a little bit more on the sideline. She's joined by the Grasshopper, Kenny Scott.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, I've got a good-looking sidekick with me right now. I'm pleased to have that going for me. Now, when you look at the artificial turf, the synthetic turf that they use here, it's top-notch here at Zions Bank Stadium. That is paramount to keep the players and athletes safe. But what they have to do is they have to choose their cleats wisely, and Kenny has a couple of cleats here. This one is good for the artificial grass. Everyone can wear these, but that difference comes in the studs. The forwards need studs that are longer and thicker because they need to be able to dig in, especially during scrums. Now, if you're a back like this guy right here and you have to be very, very quick, then you want to make sure you don't have the longer studs. You need a shorter, thinner one to make sure you don't lose any speed. Thanks again for my sidekick here helping us explain that. For everyone at home, make sure you choose the right cleats, especially before you play on turf.
Thanks, Stacey. You forgot handsome as well. Backs faster and more handsome.
Indeed. Well, and during that little report there, another 3 points on the board for NOLA off the boot of J.P. Eloff. So after a 12-point lead after 8 minutes, now it's 1.
It's amazing how fast the complexion of a game can shift. There's NOLA. They're doing the job here, controlling possession. Back to Howden, inside his 22, goes open field. This is where the Warriors can get dangerous, but what a kick from Howden too.
Wow.
Floats it up in the sun. Taylor Howden has picked up 80 off the boot. And now the Warriors with Putty. He did say he likes to kick in this position, but there's no kicking from Don Putty as he slices through on the counter-attack. Pass doesn't go to hand, it's backwards. As New Orleans towed through and Lenahan. Well, like a lonely cobra in the mongoose den back there is Lenahan. He does extremely well to get away. And then the one hand, Sonny Billes flick out the back, gifts the ball back to New Orleans. And update on Alf Daniels, he's just got out of his seat and walked out of the box next door. He is absolutely fuming at his charges down here, just giving the ball back to New Orleans. As Bursick now goes for a run for the gold. I mean, we were a little dismissive of New Orleans. Realistically, they are mathematically still a chance to make the playoffs. They need a lot of help, but you know what? If they don't win today, they're no chance, so plenty to play for.
Indeed. Well, we just saw two great breaks there, one by Don Putty. And Alf Daniels, the head coach of Utah, told me before the game, what he tells Don Putty is, if you think you can make it to the halfway line, then go ahead and counterattack. Well, Putty took that ball about 15 meters outside of his own goal line, and he still had the confidence to do it. And one errant pass to Elkington, who was trailing him, and Elkington would have been under the sticks. But it didn't go his way, and then the second pass that was trying to find the hands from Linehan to Tuipulotu, that also went astray. Two near breaks, but it results in a ball for NOLA.
Bursick at the top of the lineup. They will maul once again here in New Orleans.
Out, out.
And pretty effectively too here as they are just rolling through this Utah forward pack. 5 out from the line, it breaks down.
Tackle now, tackle.
Working, big man, can't get it down, he's held up.
No, he's held up, he's held up.
And that's good defense, desperation defense on the line there for the Warriors.
And Dan, it looks like the forwards from NOLA have basically said, let's take control of this game right now. And you can see Workin going towards the line. He goes over, but it's held up there on the ground. You can see it looks like Elkington underneath, and there is no grounding, so there is no try.
Just the extra element to rugby where you must have possession and must ground the ball over the try line. I mean, anyone can just run it over the line, Brian. Youngett to his left. Oh, how about that? How about that? Beautiful set piece from NOLA Gold. And the backs, they get it done there. The St. Mary's winger, Malpin, he gets the try.
Well, Matt, we talked about the change of angles and maybe a little bit of a deception play there. You can't take your eyes off the blindside winger, and that is in the form of Tim Malpin. He comes from the blind side. It's a little bit of a delay. You can see the wag of the ball by Taylor Howden and then back inside. Watch from the right-hand side of your screen here. There's number 12. He'll get the ball. Now the fake outside and back inside the dish to a streaking Malpin. It's a well-executed set-piece move. And another try for NOLA, and guess who's in the lead?
New Orleans.
Yeah. That's a good guess.
And they'll look to extend off the boot of Elof, and he does just that. Man, the tapestry of rugby is just such a beautiful thing. Just like that, 18 unanswered points. And Utah go from being the best thing since sliced bread to being down by 6 points.
And the fans here at Zions Bank Stadium are wondering what happened to that team we saw in the first 10 minutes of this game.
Lenahan, you would think third time's a charm as he keeps the ball in the field of play. Now New Orleans, Parry. Strong run from Parry as he goes up towards the halfway line. New York Athletic Club. He'll play for Rugby New York next year in the Major League Rugby Series. As Basker finds Falcon. They've got numbers out to their right. Falcon.
Oh, that's great. Number 2 on number 2. Tuipulotu against Falcon.
Elof, he kicks. That's the second time Tuipulotu's found Falcon. Lenahan, inside his 22, kicks this. And it will find the sideline. There is an interesting breeze swirling above Zion Bank Stadium here. And the rugby action, it will continue right here on CBS Sports tonight at 9 Eastern. More action coming your way on the pitch as USA Rugby men's national team takes on Scotland. Don't miss some world-class competition with the Emirates Airlines Summer Series on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. And Brian, could be a chance for that first Tier 1 scalp for the USA Eagles.
Well, especially after what we saw from USA last week against Russia, absolutely pounding the Russians in Denver. Well, Tucci is out. You could see a couple doors down from us, Alf Daniels calling for the sub, and here comes Maka Tamalau. 315 pounds of Maka Tamalau wearing the number 17 jersey.
And throw not straight on the line out, so it'll be a scrum here, you would think, for the Warriors. Yeah, I saw Tucci at one point put his hand to the bench, Brian. He pointed to the back of his leg, so I'm assuming it's a hamstring.
Come on, that's gotta be.
Yeah, because you certainly don't want to bring your 350-pound, 315-pound prop in the game in the first half.
I'm sure his brother, Tavita, in the number 8 jersey, will be encouraging his younger brother, Mucka. The team need him to go the length here, and it's going to be a big ask. Still 48 minutes left to play in this game. Nichols at the back. Oh, under pressure, Nichols.
Loose head prop, not straight.
Not straight, loose head. Over here, taps over here.
And Cullen, he's playing a game by himself. He'll come all the way back.
Just go back. I hear you. Yep.
There you see, just boring in from the side there against NOLA Gold. Call from Derek Summers.
And that call against Hubert Bidens. Keep your eyes on the right-hand side of the scrum there. Cullen trying to go quickly, and the whistle blew on him, so comes back, and Linehan tries to put it into touch and doesn't find it.
Basker returns fire. That's a great kick from the fullback as well. All the way up past the 40-meter line. And they could have used some of that last week against San Diego down there in New Orleans.
Interesting, that ball. And you mentioned a little bit of the swirling wind, and from the flags that are behind one of the sets of posts, it looks like that ball would have found its way into touch with the wind helping out, but instead it blows back in.
Uh-oh. Not again. 2 in the air. Where's Putty? He was on his left. He finds Vainacolo instead. And this is where they need to be patient, Brian. When that first attack doesn't work, they need to build the pressure here and be patient as Tamalau, all 315 pounds of him, rumbles up to the 40. Now Lenahan to his right, McClellan. McClellan can't get away from Workin. There was a slight gap there. Workin, though, he shuts it quickly. Jensen midfield. Steps away from the attention of Tongawea, who finally brings him down on the 40. Now Willa.
You can see the strategy from NOLA is bring the line speed up a little bit quicker in the faces of these attackers so that they can't get that head of steam and break tackles like they were doing in the first few possessions.
Lenahan changes the course of attack as he shifts the ball back to the right to Hiller. Now Nichols finds Cullen. Now Cullen can run. Falmasili. He tries the quickest route, the straight line, right over the top of Basker, the fullback, up to the task as he brings him down in the 22. Tui Pelotu now. He goes forward, 10 out from the line, the Warriors, looking to turn this game back in their favour. Lauti, he'll score. You won't stop Tanata Lauti. The footwork sublime, and there's the try for the winger, the Warriors. They have a chance to retake the lead.
Well, that's a great try by Lauti, and the footwork, you know, Dan, he goes sideways about as quickly as he goes forward. So hard to stop that sidestep on Tonata Lauti. We talked about him in the pregame, but look at the hands there from John Cullen. And then Falmasili sets it up, almost loses it, but there's Cullen again. And you gotta love the work by the number 6, both in the passing game and then in the support game, and then out to Lauti. You can see his hand waving, give it to me, I got this one. And sure enough,
Not too many fullbacks in the world that can get a stop Tonata Lauti in that situation. And you just said it there, Brian. These steps, these movements of these outside backs for the Warriors, they do move sideways as quickly as you and I would move forwards. It's just incredibly difficult to tackle. As Lenihan, he slices a conversion through. It's 19 points to 18 right before the halftime break.
And for Alf Daniels, again, we've seen him sweating up here in the booth, but I think that's something that'll calm him down a little bit. And the whole team as well. Maybe just you got out to a big one, and then all of a sudden here came this NOLA Gold storm right back in it and took the lead. And you just got to sometimes calm it back down. And to me, their bread and butter is get the guys like Tui Pelotu, Saya Uhila, get them with ball in hand and smashing in to defenders from NOLA.
Howden goes deep. Lenihan in trouble. Finds Lauti. And again, these Utah Warriors outside backs. I could just imagine kicking practice at training. They probably look at Alf Daniels and go, why? We're not going to kick it. There's Lauti and Pati just electric on the kick returns. That's the man there. Pati goes wide. They've got numbers. Pass to Foul. Masili doesn't stick. Howden, the little dribble through. And he goes back in field. It's picked off. That's Cullen out there. What an impact he's had in the last 5 minutes as he weaves his way across field inside his 22. And now they have some numbers here, the Warriors. They turn it over. What a turnover for New Orleans right in front of the sticks.
Well, the risk reward, and when you run the ball from your own half, watch Howden here. There's Cullen, but it comes after perhaps too big a risk from Don Patti. We saw a couple of chances to boot the ball, and Utah didn't take it, and they're over. The ball is working, and he is working and gets the penalty just at the right time and a chance to go back up. And this should be a sand wedge for JP Eloff.
You see the kids here at Zions Bank Stadium absolutely loving the action on the field. They'd love it if the Warriors could get some more points before the halftime break. It looked at one stage as though they were going to run away with things now. That man JP Eloff reclaims the lead for NOLA Gold. 21 points to 19. A minute left to play here before the break.
What a great first half of action. I mean, we've seen it back and forth, and both teams have had their share of ball and tries, and they've both squandered some possession as well.
Lenihan with the restart. Comes down to Bursic. He worked his way just shy of the 40 here. It's NOLA Gold. Will continue to attack Eloff.
Charge down, all on side.
Everyone on side. That one tapped down by Putty. The last thing you want is a broken kick chase with Don Patti, because this is what happens. He slices through. He's got two now. Lauti. And he looks to give his winger a chance at a second try as well in this match. And for Nate Osborne and NOLA Gold in particular, their kickers, they've got some frank discussions to have at the halftime break, Brian, about not kicking the ball to Don Patti in the second half.
Well, did anyone on NOLA Gold think that Don Patti was going to actually kick the ball back to him?
Well, I liked in his interview where he said, if it's real deep, I'll kick it. I mean, he's
real deep, he's got to be in goal.
He's
perhaps
that
that
ball
deep.
line, yeah. He's not kicking the ball. Tamalau, he goes forward. Just when we thought the halftime break was upon us, and NOLA would go with the momentum. Here's the Warriors knocking on the door for one last chance before the break. Nichols, he'll go to his left with Jensen. Jensen settles. They've got numbers to the right here. Trying to find Lenihan on the field. He is sitting back with Maka Tamalau. And there is a big hole there right in front of him if he wants the ball. It's slow.
Well, how about Maka Tamalau is right across from JP Eloff. You think that's a good matchup?
15.
We've got Cullen out here as well, just looking for an opportunity. They still have massive numbers here, Brian. Only 4 New Orleans defenders, 6 Warriors. Lenihan, it opens up. Oh, he parts it. And the punter from BYU. He had a few 4th and longs where he went for it, showing his skills right there. The Warriors reclaim the lead.
Well, some of that, I think, was about Maka Tamalau. If you got a 315-pound prop across from you, you got to respect that option. And the ball, they use him as a decoy, and then Linehan slides in between two defenders. Watch this break by Potty. Not going to kick it. The ball fake, a little bit of a gap, and then he's going to eventually find his old teammate from Utah, now teammate for the Warriors. And a great exchange between the two of them. There's Saya Uwila. Now look at that, 1, 2, 3 defenders on the ground. Nola Gold sliding out, using the big man for a decoy, and Linehan slots that little gap.
Conversion right through the middle of the post. We'll go to the break. 26 points to 21. It's the Warriors in the lead. And we're going to go down to Stacey Pates, who's with New Orleans head coach Nate Osborne.
And as his players are running by Nate Osborne, are you encouraged by what you're seeing so far? Because also when you look at the set pieces, it looks like your number 8 is in charge.
Yeah, we are. We're playing a lot better this week. We're sticking to the plan a lot better. There's still some one-on-one missed tackles that we're missing that's kind of keeping them in the game, but we're playing in the right areas of the field. It's just that transition defense needs to fix up a bit when we turn the ball over.
Good luck in the next 40. Always thank you.
Thanks very much.
Guys?
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Nate Osborne. When we return from the break, we will take a look at all the highlights, and there were plenty of them in the first half, as the Warriors and Gold continue to battle it out here in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is an absolute cliffhanger at the break. Just 5 points separate these two sides. It's New Orleans on the road, and that man, Don Putty, getting it done for the Warriors at home.
You're going to kick them. Then you're going to run through the balls that are set up. The first person to kick it through the uprights, you're going to win. Okay, what's your name? We got Luke. We got Tim. Both from the Park City Haggis, so these guys know their way around the rugby pitch. You guys ready for this? Make some noise for them, okay? We're going to count you down, boys. On the count of 3, here we go. On your mark. Get set. Go, let's go. Cheer ball, come on. Who's got it? Get a little kick. There he goes. Oh! You have the distance, but not the accuracy. Here he goes. Up, up.
Welcome back to Zion Bank Stadium here in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. 26-21. The home side have a 5-point lead over New Orleans after 40 minutes, and it was an action-packed 40 minutes. Brian Hightower, plenty of tries, 4 coming from Utah.
Absolutely. In the first 8 minutes, Dan, you thought it was going to be a track meet. I mean, look at Utah 2-0, absolutely dicing the NOLA Gold defense, and then Don Potty putting on a clinic over for the first try. And Utah with their tails up, 2-0. It's almost a repeat exactly of the first try, just opposite side of the field. And look who it is, Potty. 2 tries, 8 minutes, but then NOLA Gold comes storming back here off the base. Matt Houston, a well-worked scrum move, and across the line he goes. Right back in it, 5 points for the men from New Orleans. And then watch the play out the back. Nice shot from JP Eloff. The rare drop goal, and another 3 on the board. Now it's 12-10. And it's NOLA Gold once again. The move back into Maupin. He takes the blind side. Wing comes across for another try. But then just when it looked like Utah was going the wrong direction, a great try for the Warriors. Got a couple of phases there. And Dan, the runners for Utah finding soft shoulders for NOLA Gold, and they've got to work that formula in the second half if they're going to stay successful. Just when we thought it was all over and the clock had expired, another try. Linehan finds pay dirt. It has been wide open here at Salt Lake City.
Well, coming up after full time here in Utah, it's the Arena Football League action as the Albany Empire welcomes the 2-time defending Arena Super Bowl champions Philadelphia Soul for a Saturday night showdown right here on CBS Sports Network. When we return from the break, the build-up continues to the second half here at Zions Bank Stadium.
Looking for a new road to financial freedom? Visit Louis.social and discover the way. Outsource, trust and drive your Utah Warriors. Where smart money buys. Supporting the Utah Warriors through 12 passion and trust. Foresight Management offers a wide range of services to suit your diverse financial planning needs. Good foresight in your financial future. Lunar and O'Reilly, innovation specialist, lawyers you can trust. And Spring Hill Suites by Marriott in South Jordan is proudly the team hotel of the Utah Warriors. Saturday Sandy is proud to support your Warriors. Saturday Sandy, the way to grow your business. Embassy Suites South Jordan presenting a brand new Embassy Suites. Located in South Jordan just off 106 South and I-15. It's the only full-service hotel in the South Valley with 10,000 square feet of meeting space and 192 rooms. We are ready
And welcome back. Major League Rugby Week 9. We are in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's the Warriors and NOLA Gold. 40 minutes in the books here as we take a look at the standings and the importance of this match. Paramount for both these sides. NOLA 2-5, Utah 2-4 with the game in hand and plenty of bonus points in their back pocket already, Brian. Both these sides need a win, more so for Utah, who control their destiny, win and they're in.
Absolutely. Last gasp here for NOLA. They'll need not only a win, but all kinds of mathematical improbabilities to help them get to that last four.
And of course, the regular season ends next Saturday night at 10:30 Eastern with Major League Rugby continuing as the undefeated Raptors go head-to-head with the San Diego Legion right here on CBS Sports Network. We're going to take a short break. When we return, the kickoff and the second half action coming your way.
Dance, guys.
And we are back. Zions Bank Stadium in Salt Lake City. Halftime break is over, 26-21. We have a 5-point ball game here. The Warriors, they've secured 1 bonus point for 4 tries already, Brian. Now they must run away with this and get the win.
Alf Daniels, normally so composed and mild-mannered. Got the feeling from watching his mannerisms up here, Dan, that he might have given those Warriors an earful in the locker room between the halves.
Well, as you know, Brian, always interesting. The coach's message can do one or two things. It can galvanize a side, bring them together, or it can splinter them. The words can fall on deaf ears. We'll find out very early on here who had the better words at halftime between Osborne and Daniels as we await Derek Summers' whistle and the boot of Taylor Howden. It'll be New Orleans. Left your screen. They'll kick off to the Warriors. 40 minutes left for NOLA Gold season. Can they finish on a high, or do the Warriors continue their march to the playoffs? Cullen, he gets first touch here in the second half. Nichols will step in. They will use the benches as Elkington. He goes for a run up to the 40. Back to Lenahan, outside his 22, under pressure too from Falcon. Lenahan, too much. And not the start the fly half would have been looking for. You can see his frustration as well.
And that time got a little bit of help from the wind and pushed that into touch. It would have been a huge boot from Lenahan, gobbling up a bunch of territory, but instead comes right back to where he kicked that ball. So an early break for NOLA.
Falcon with the throw, well taken there at the top by Bursik. They've used the maul quite well here this afternoon, had NOLA gold, and they continue to go back to that, unsurprisingly with the success they've had, as this one breaks down right on the 22. Youngit looking, then finding Tongawiya. He crabs his way across field. Now Eloff, early ball, finds Howden. Basker at the back. Basker, Masili is able to contain the fullback well. It was going to be one of the tests that you talked about, Brian, the two outside centres adjusting to their new roles. And now Eloff to the line, little opening. Eloff almost slices through. Such a promising young player, JP Eloff. As Houston. He's had a tremendous season. He would love to finish it with a win, as with that man Falcon. He runs into a brick wall in Tamalau. Across they come. Tongawiya, or bumping run from Tongawiya. The Warriors come again though. They've done extremely well here, Utah. New Orleans have not crossed the 22. Off the Utah Warriors. As Elkington picks up a bump, he looks to be in a little bit of trouble. And now Parry slices through, back inside, Falcon. They don't have the same footwork as those Utah back three, the big man, but they are working their way towards the same goal, that try line. Tiko Suva, he's over, has he got it down? He has! Summers blows the whistle, and New Orleans, they get to start in the second half.
Great job by NOLA to recycle phase after phase, and after Utah had made so many head-up tackles, really thwarting the attack of this NOLA Gold, it was one missed tackle, and the normally sure-shouldered Lote Tuipulotu lets Perry slip by, and that's how they get the attacking platform next to the in goal. Watch again, not Potty makes the desperation tackle, but it's because of Tuipulotu's miss. And now it's just Will. And Tukoi Suva just wills his way over. Johnny Linehan maybe could have helped out a little bit more on that tackle. And a good try by NOLA Gold.
Yeah, from Alf Daniels, I'm getting word out to Linehan pretty quickly. Just stop trying to take too much on these kicks, Johnny. Even go high. If I'm Utah, Brian, I don't even mind getting into a kicking battle because I know I've got Lauti and Putty at the back who are slicing through at will on these kick returns. Just kick it high down the middle of the field, get a good chase, force them to kick back.
Absolutely, Dan. And NOLA has given you no reason to have to really respect their counterattack like you'd have to with Utah.
Sullivan, fresh legs on the field here for NOLA, gets his first touch on the restart. It's a good one up to the 40 as well. Tongawiya. Youngit plays territory. Putty into a little bit of sunshine. That's what you have to do to Don Putty. The chase, the bounce, it's room service bounce for Eloff, and he will canter under the post for a try. That's how you stop the kick return of the back three of Utah right there.
Well, we talked about halftime adjustments a few minutes ago, Dan, and one of them had to have been a discussion around what to do with Don Potty during the counterattack. And that time, you could see the wall come up, and nobody forcing their way to try to make the tackle on Potty, and he throws a speculative pass that doesn't go to hand, at least not to the hand of anyone in a Utah jersey. Nice aggressive D by JP Eloff, and it rewards him with 5 points, and Utah in trouble now. You got to imagine too, Dan, if you're NOLA, you're in the locker room saying, hey guys, this is the last half we have to play this entire season. Let's go out there with a punctuation mark.
And we're going to go down to Stacey Pates with an update from the halftime break on NOLA Gold.
Brian, you mentioned earlier in the match that it only takes one thing to go right for NOLA. Well, it seems like there's been several things that have gone right for NOLA, especially that last play. When they approached this game, I spoke to Taylor Howden. He said they really don't want to play with any pressure. They're not going to put any extra pressure on themselves. So what's scarier than an opponent playing with reckless abandon when they put points on the board for NOLA?
100% right there, Stacey. They are just playing without a worry in the world, that carefree rugby. which is usually what we see from the Warriors. But New Orleans giving them a little taste of their own medicine.
Indeed. Well, and you know, a couple of wrinkles. We mentioned Makatamalau coming in early for the injured Alex Tucci. We've talked all season about their fitness levels.
Knock on the ground.
And just when they get over the 22-meter line of NOLA Gold, they cough it up once again.
We know Austin and San Diego will be watching this game very closely. They play tomorrow out in San Diego. That one has massive implications on the playoffs as well. And got a little note slide across my desk that there may be the return of a legendary USA Eagle for Austin, not Todd Clever. The great Lou Stanfield will return to competitive professional rugby tomorrow. 3 years in the wilderness.
Indeed. New baby to boot.
It's funny how that can be a motivator sometimes, Brian. It changes your perspective on a lot of things, and maybe Mr. Stanfield wants to empty that tank now. Maybe just wants a night in a hotel to get a good night's sleep too. There's now New Orleans. They'll get a good night's sleep tonight if they can get this win here, end their season on a high. Party with a little bit of space. And this kick return, just a touch better from New Orleans. They restrict him to that halfway line you talked about. Now Tamalau, no look, picks up Elkington, needed one more pass. Tamalau a little late to the party. And now turned over again for New Orleans. These turnovers just coming back to haunt the Warriors in this game. There's Falcon. Youngett will box. And he'll find space too. The Warriors just look out on their feet at the moment, Brian. No urgency to get back for that ball. It sits up. Cullen, for some reason, decides to keep it in play.
Thrown forward.
Under pressure. I'm not too sure what the number 6 was thinking there. I did not see a Warrior touch that pass previous, Brian, did you?
No, I didn't. And it looked, as you mentioned, Dan, that Don Potty under the ball a little bit casual. And perhaps it's because he couldn't find the gas in the tank to get to the ball, but you can't let that ball bounce, and it takes a fortuitous bounce back towards NOLA, and then a speculative pass back into play, but it goes forward.
Let's take a look here.
Crouch!
Maybe off the hand of Anderson, which would mean he'd be offside anyway, so I'm not... Yeah, a little confusing there from the Warriors.
Well, we mentioned NOLA taking advantage in the forwards in the end of the first half.
And they come on a looping run. Howden finds Tikawasuva. Unmarked out wide. Cover defense should be able to contain him though. That being said, the elusive left winger for NOLA can get it done.
Well, the timing on that ball, and I think the intention was to get that to Baska on that blistering, incisive run on the shoulder of Taylor Howden, but he comes a little quick or the ball's a little late, and instead it goes wide. And that's a great cover tackle there by Vainicolo. Taking a look at the Utah reserves and some big bodies to bring in for Utah.
And speaking of big bodies, none bigger than Makatamalau, but he spills the ball forward. Eloff looking to claim his second try of the match. Howden, long pass, his trouble wide. Troxler, his first touch. It's a good one. And New Orleans, just like that, it's bang, 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 3 quick tries.
Well, Dan, Utah came out in the beginning of the second half. They looked flat. They've looked worse since. Coughing up possession. They look a little bit tired. It's got to be frustrating. Just there to help, but doesn't really lend much of tackling support.
Well, we talked about New Orleans. Mathematically a chance. If they're going to be a chance, they've got to get the bonus point win. Bonus point locked up. Now just got to finish this off. It's a 14-point lead at the moment. Eloff looking to extend to 16. Kick coming around, too late. It stays away. 40 points to 26. It's 2 converted tries separating these sides here in Salt Lake City. The Warriors, though, they need, you talked in the first half, New Orleans just need one thing to go right. Well, funny, you flip the script. Now it's the Warriors who just look for a positive anywhere.
Yeah, 3 scores down and so much time left as we look at the NOLA reserve. Some experience there, some big men in the shape of Sullivan and McQuone.
Time up.
Troxler already in for Basca.
You don't have to tell me.
And the try scorer, he fields that ball inside his 22. No threat of a kick return when you put it over the sideline. Just outside the 22, it'll be a line out for the Warriors. They'll have good field position here, Brian. They need to get something going, though.
Well, if you know, you got to be thinking, you know, where was this last week when you needed it? At home, playoffs on the line. Another mistake by Utah.
Eloff quickly plays the territory, isolates Loudy, who finds Lenahan. Lenahan needs to keep his feet. He's being driven back. He finds Putty close to the sideline. They're just tossing the ball around willy-nilly here. The Warriors. Alf Daniels, if he didn't have grey hair, he's going to go pretty close here today with this one.
There's tons of Warriors out here to the left. They got to have a ball from the base here.
And they do come to the left. Big shot there from New Orleans. Putty also whacked under pressure. He's forced backwards. Youngett finishes the job that Dikasuva started. And just like that, the Warriors back in their 22. Nichols kicks it away. And there are a lot of tired bodies. Look at this kick chase. It is so disjointed, Brian Hightower. They are in big trouble here. Basca.
He runs straight into Tomalau. That's a gift.
Yeah, the biggest man on the field. It's the last person you want to run into. Parry.
No, they went back.
Youngett now with Falcon. Tuipulotu looking for the poach over the top. Shapes the kick. No, spots an opening, Eloff. He's got Basca coming up on his outside. He runs away from Basca and he's brought down 10 out from the line. Opportunity goes begging there for New Orleans. Now Parry with a run. And Tuipulotu still down back on the 40-meter line for the Warriors as Jensen gets the turnover. Nichols under pressure.
No.
And McClellan, he wants the ball. Jensen under pressure. That one spills across field, picked up.
Knocked on.
With Howden now. Jinking run from Howden. As New Orleans slow at the back. Parry.
Eloff still off his feet.
And you can see New Orleans very, very crowded around the ball. They'll appreciate this penalty. And a shot at 3 points here. And right here, Brian, I think if he just draws in these players and finds Basca, he almost runs into Basca there.
Yeah, and some of that's just communication. You got to know. You got to let the guy with the ball know where you are, and then the guy with the ball has to make a decision, pin a defender, and then free up some space for Basca there. But a lot of guys on the ground. You're only 15 minutes into the second half, and for me, both coaches got to be concerned. Osborne has got some players on the ground. Eloff just got to his feet after taking about a minute to get back up. Tuipulotu for Utah. Looks like he's cramping.
It's just the carrier. It's hot. It's hot, Johnny. It's hot. We'll let the water come. No, not really, but it's hot. So.
No mistakes from JP Eloff. He slices through the middle of the post, and they extend now 43 points to 26. It's been a good day for the South African native. His right boot getting things done here.
Stoppage in the middle. Is he off?
You know, the formula that we saw, and we talked about it in the first half, Dan, was you got to get some of these big runners like number 5, Saya Uila, Tui Pelotu, AJ Tuanau, Tomalau, get them running at these NOLA defenders. The problem is they don't have a whole lot of gas left, and so they can't run into the defense.
This kick goes downfield. Anderson, he's on this left wing now, and he can move Anderson. Look at the speed. Anderson, he slices right through. He's like grease lightning. They won't stop Anderson, and there's the good thing that the Warriors won it. It's go you good thing for Anderson.
Well, I think Josh Anderson was watching the Don Potty channel in the first half, because that's exactly what Potty had done to the NOLA defense several times in that first half. You could see the NOLA defense. They didn't close that gap. Anderson spies it, and then he's rangy. He's hard to bring down. He's got those big, long legs. There's the gap. And now just the step outside, and you can see tired bodies swatting at ankles. Not going to happen. Anderson, fresh legs. That's exactly what Utah needs, and now they need more of it.
Well, he's built like a greyhound, isn't he? He moves like one too. Absolute flyer on the bench there is Anderson. And now Lenahan, this is a big one for him. To reduce the lead back to a 10-point ball game. Johnny Lenahan, Auckland, New Zealand native. Played rugby at BYU. Went down, tried out as a safety for the football team. And they said, well, you're a lousy safety, but you can kick a ball better than we've ever seen. And next thing you know, 4 years as the starting punter.
Yeah, you know, that last try we saw NOLA scored, it kind of proved that he wasn't ready to be a safety.
And we will take a short break as the conditions, as we've talked about, very, very tough on the players here. When we return from the break, the second half concludes. It's 43-31, NOLA in the lead. Everything to play for both these sides. Welcome back from the break. Zions Bank Stadium here in Salt Lake City. And the crowd there starting to get a little bit more involved, Brian, as their side just put 5 points on the board.
Wait for the water
a glimmer of hope for them to come back and win this game.
Yeah, and a great chance for them to get together and say, remember what we said at halftime? Let's actually do it this time.
And Howden, he gets us back underway here. Oh, great take from Houston. Well, when you need big plays, you look to your big players, and Matt Houston is always in the mix for New Orleans.
Yeah, not good enough, though, from Matt Jensen. You got to go up to the high point and take that ball out of the air if you're the lock from Utah.
And now they have the advantage. Nalpin, he's wrapped up. And that was unlucky from Utah. They just jumped slightly offside there. They thought that Youngert had delivered the pass and weren't able to retreat in time. And now you would think another 3 points here. Both these sides have locked up a bonus point, Brian.
Guys, get back.
Well, I think New Orleans know 12 points is just not enough here.
Well,
the whole back
yeah,
line
I think
came up early.
To me, not a great decision there, because you put this ball over the crossbar and you put the game more than 2 tries away. for Utah.
Hold it here, hold it.
We'll see if the gamble pays off for Taylor Howden and the NOLA Gold, kicking the ball into touch instead of 3 points off the boot of Elof.
Well taken from Bursic.
Out.
Now they maul.
Advantage from the side.
Now Elof, advantage in his back pocket, finds Basker. Basker straightens. Foul Masili does well to contain the fullback. Youngit, crossfield.
Advantage off the ball.
And now another advantage. Tavita Tamalau,
Yep.
absolutely belting Sullivan off the ball. That one could be more than just a penalty. Wouldn't that change the complex of the game, Brian? A yellow card comes into it for foul play there. Something to think about. As New Orleans continue to attack here just outside the 5-meter line off the Utah Warriors.
Backwards, still have advantage.
We talked about discipline in the first half, and Utah's really got to focus on that aspect of their game.
That's good.
Howden, big dummy from Howden. Can't get them to bite. Troxler. As they come to the middle of the field. Big Ben Tar getting a touch.
Still have advantage.
Now Parry, his front row compatriot.
Over. Put your hands back.
It's slow ball here for New Orleans as they continue to pour the pressure on the Warriors. Parry, crossfield.
No, we'll come back.
And no advantage. We'll come back for the penalty.
Yeah, more than a penalty. I didn't think so. Okay.
Two penalties there. The first one was on Jensen for
the ball.
collapsing the ball from the side.
there.
The second one,
Taylor, where do you want the mark?
as mentioned,
You can have a
from
kick here in
Tamalau.
front or on the corner. You want to hear? Shot a goal.
Yeah, now Howden changes his mind. Says,
It's
I
a
think
legal
we'll
hit
go
otherwise.
ahead
You
and
just
take
time
this
it,
one.
okay? If he doesn't have the ball, don't hit.
Well, points
That's fair. It's just a
definitely coming into the fore here. 4 for a win, 2 for a draw. Each team has earned a bonus point at this point. The loss does neither team any good at this point in the competition. So the bonus for NOLA is that in taking these three points, they've played about 3 or 4 minutes off the clock.
And unsurprisingly, JP Elof, he threads the needle there for another 3. 46-31, 15-point ball game with 18 minutes left on the clock. As the Warriors make some more changes, Solowai comes on. He'll be wearing the 18 jersey. Another one of these big bodies coming off the bench for Alf Daniels.
You know, you look at Solowai, number 18, 260 pounds. Went to BYU Hawaii on a basketball scholarship. How'd you like to go up for a rebound against 6'4", 260?
Here's Putty. Well contained this time by New Orleans. That should be a penalty there, playing that on the ground. Well, that's...
No, we're just going to give it unplayable. He had the ball, but he couldn't play it, all right? We're just going to give it unplayable.
Brennan Falcon just laying on the ground with his hands all
Going
over.
forward, Black.
He's very lucky not to get the penalty against him there.
Yeah, interesting call by Derek Summers, the referee. We could see it from the box. Man off his feet with the ball in his hand, still trying to work it back to his teammates, and that usually draws a straight arm and a whistle, but in this case, just a scrum, says Summers. Well, for Utah, at least they have the ball back. Not the penalty, but the scrum. We'll see if some of the new substitutes for the Warriors can add quality minutes.
Let's go up. He's got nothing to hit here, okay? Just rebind. I know, but just rebind.
Yep. Wait, Barry.
Just give him a little bit more. Yeah, okay.
63 minutes gone here at Zions Bank Stadium.
Here we go.
You just have to ask yourself, Brian, do the Warriors have enough left in the tank at this point?
Bind.
Well, fresh legs on the corner. I like Lauti and Anderson if they can get the ball. Lots of options from this midfield scrum. Linehan goes left.
Use.
They go to the right with Putty. Showing that he can crash as well as he can step. Willa. Williams. Could he be the X factor the Warriors need to get the win here? Nichols comes across, Forrester, short. McClellan under pressure, lets it go. Great pickup, Lenahan. Oh, Basker with a try-saver. And he brings him down. They've still got numbers to the left. Falmasili calling for the ball, needs it quickly. Putty, he slips into first receiver, the offload. They must score. Vainikolo, he'll get the try. He's not able to bring it around closer to the post, but there's the 5 points. And they are back in this one with a sniff.
There are key moments that happen in every match. One of them might have been that Linehan pickup off the ground. That ball is knocked on 8 out of 10 times, Dan. He somehow finds the handle and brings it in, and then manages the offload before the contact gets there. Great pickup by Linehan. And now watch the patience. Waiting for support, finds it. Once again in the form of McClellan. And then Vainikolo, the wag. Troxler has to step outside. And Utah, you mentioned a few minutes ago, Dan, 12 points isn't enough. You still didn't know who was going to win this match. I completely agree with you. There's still too much rugby left to be played. 15 minutes. Look how many points have been scored. 82 points. $84 points.
Tack another 2 on the board, Brian. Lenahan, he converts 38-46. It's an 8-point ball game. Well,
sometimes you need a little shot in the arm. Still 12 points down.
Eight points, not a lot, and I think New Orleans know that. It's Howden, very slow back to the halfway line, 14 minutes. Well, with both these sides, an 84 points scored. 14 minutes is an eternity. They go short. Falmasili does well. He's had a pretty solid campaign so far, Falmasili, playing in the unfamiliar role. Williams, I said he could be an X factor. He's showing more than that right now. Pops it up, Salai. One more pass, he loses that one forward. And now advantage for New Orleans as they come wide with Houston. He kicks it downfield. Falmasili fields it. Here's danger for New Orleans. They need to get their kick chase together here. That pass bounces to Party. Watch Party, he looks for the big bodies and he slices through the big bodies. He's got Lauti looming up on his right. Lauti now tackled in the 22 off New Orleans. They come wide. Vainikolo! The pass just too far in front of the winger. Oh, I am just riding this game. Every single pass, exciting stuff.
Well, I can't believe they got the ball so quickly back down to the place where Les Solowai had the knock on. Credit Don Potty. Look at the break, and then he finds his Utah teammate, former Ute, Tonata Lauti. And then, this pass just past the fingertips of Vainikolo. Would have likely been another try.
In New Orleans, noticing that, bring out some fresh legs. The big cheese, Amro Gouda himself, steps into hooker. There's Falcon. He heads to the bench. New Orleans, though, no, they can't really kick this ball back down the middle to Party or Anderson or Lauti.
Good stable scrum, but I think it's because nobody can push anymore.
Tackle, let go.
Troxler, he's contained. They will kick. Howden chews up some time as he drifts across field. And that's the best thing New Orleans can do. Find the sideline. No problems there as some more substitutions come in. It used to be Carl Drago, then he's changed to Aquaman. It is Vernon Ali. Jason Momoma, look-alike out there. Let's go down to Stacey, who's down close to the Utah bench. Stacey, what's going on down there?
The emotion is palpable. Clearly a packed stadium. You should have seen the bench reaction with Utah with those last several exchanges. It is unbelievable. They're going to try to keep pumping in fresh legs because these guys have a lot of energy. They are not looking at this scoreboard with anything but a comeback in mind.
Thanks, Stacey. Well, a big change there as you were talking, Stacey. Don Party goes to the bench.
I can't believe Don Potty is not on the field for the Utah Warriors. A lot of faith in Vernon Ale. See if that has a difference in the match.
And that handling error from foul Masili, the pass from Lenahan just too far in front of the outside center.
Chris, right here.
And I hope Alf Daniels, he has the baby aspirin and the blood pressure medicine, because I'm feeling it up here. I can only imagine how Alf Daniels and the Utah Warriors fans are feeling right now.
In the 68th minute, 2 opportunities down near the 10-meter line of NOLA Gold, and both of them squandered by knock-ons.
Fine.
There is the man, Sir Don Potty. I mean, he's your game breaker. You would think, unless there's an injury or some other underlying factor. As the ball comes down now to Rinikama. He's well contained.
Get out, that's good.
Midfield, Parry. Can't afford a turnover here if you're in New Orleans. Houston. Under pressure, Houston, and there's that turnover.
That is great work on the ground by Solowai. Less Solowai, you need to have big moments sometimes by your impact subs, and Solowai delivers at the breakdown.
Looks like there may have been March 10 as well for back chat.
A huge line out here for the Utah Warriors.
Let's hold the gap here, White, yeah.
We've seen their last few possessions have ended in knock-ons.
Hold it here.
And 2 of them were catchable balls, Dan. They got to protect the ball. 8 points down, still a lot of time left.
That ball stolen from New Orleans though. As Youngit under pressure, Rinikama, they're gonna run it. Elof comes wide, there's a dummy. Tikasuva isolated, turned over, Lenahan. Pops the pass up to Vainicolo, now here's Anderson down the wing, Anderson. Basker comes at him and brings him down 10 meters out from the line. This is the chance the Warriors needed. It's turned over by New Orleans, they've given the ball back.
Vainicolo a step late there to support Josh Anderson. 3rd time, same spot on the field.
Sullivan, he takes a settler, looking to buy some time and some space for Elof. Elof back in the pocket, finds the line. 72 minutes gone. Let's go down to Stacey. What can you tell us about Don Potty? Why the substitution at such a crucial time, Stacey?
That is the question. The good news is he is good. He was doing some stretching. I think that's just preventative. That's important, but he is good. He's not hurt. There was no need for the substitution in terms of an injury situation. It is leaving a lot of people in disbelief as to why that sub was made at that time.
Well, still 8 minutes left to play. The Warriors within 8. Anderson loses his footing midfield. This could be turned over. It looked like New Orleans were right over the top of that ball. Yes, Derek Summers agrees.
Although I never saw a clear release from the tackler. It's a call that could have gone either way.
That's a big penalty as now Howden and New Orleans. Brian, let's take a look. He loses his footing, Anderson.
Here comes from the blindside wing. There's Anderson now. Tikoi Suva goes over the top. There's never a release in the tackle. He does not have the right to play that ball. No separation, but Derek Summers calls it the other way. I think that's a crucial mistake. Goes to the benefit of NOLA.
Black 20. 20, sub.
Very interesting. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Black 8
You agree?
Well, 8.
Yeah, looking at it again, I think Summers may have thought that Anderson had been knocked down by contact and there needed to be a, that was the release already, but I agree with you, Brian. I think he slips. The first contact Joeli makes with him, he's on the poach.
Time on.
I've been wrong before. I just want you to know that.
Well, I'm going to join you if you are. In this case, we'll be wrong together.
Excellent.
Not contested, play.
As now New Orleans looking to put this game to bed. That won't help though, a little handling error. Maybe the rugby gods just interfering there.
Indeed.
13, so.
This is that call yet again. Anderson loses the footing.
So he's there, and now he's back up. That's the tackle. It's a close call, 50-50, but it could have gone either way.
More changes as Aniki Faumasili makes his way to the bench. And Nichols, Ben Nichols, the older of the Nichols brothers. Fun fact you brought up earlier today, 3 brothers playing today for the Warriors.
Still got a couple of Tamilaus on the field.
Nichols, Lenahan goes wide. Vanacolo, they've got numbers. Lauti, quick hands. Anderson, here's trouble. Anderson spills it forward. And at the end of the day, when they sit down and watch this film, Brian, they're going to have no one to blame but themselves. They have just turned the ball over far too much here today.
Yeah, and Michael Baska getting up real slow.
But New Orleans, they just let them stick around. We'll come back for the initial knock on, though, against Anderson. 5 minutes left on the clock. Still plenty of time for 2 quick scores. As we saw at the start of the game, they put back-to-back tries together almost immediately. But that man who did it is no longer on the field.
Yeah, and maybe it's because Lauti maybe has a little bit better top end than Don Potty and maybe a little bit more reserve in the old gas tank. But, yeah, interesting call there. I like them both on the field, to be honest. They complement each other really well. Time off, says the ref, and I think Michael Baska getting a little bit of attention after that contact with Anderson. Well, desperation times here, and if you're Utah Warriors, you got to come up. Your line speed here, you got to put all the pressure you can on NOLA Gold.
Fine.
Youngit will have this put in. Elof loves to play in the mouth of the lion, as they say in South Africa. Plays in the teeth of the defense.
Turnover.
And the turnover is good from the Warriors. Here we go. 4 minutes on the clock. What can Utah do? Their season, it hangs in the balance here as Vanacolo.
Oh, that was the pass he needed. Lauti was through.
Well, he's doing a good job himself there, Vanacolo, but Lauti, he's a genuine finisher. As Williams is down in back play. Elkington, back to Nichols. Nichols finds Tamilau. Credit to the big man, he's put in quite a shift as he came on early in the first half. 315 pounds, long pass wide. Anderson on the bounce. Troxler needs to make the tackle, he doesn't. Uhila now, he's just brought down short. Here come the Warriors. Forrester reaches, he's over! He's over! There's the try, the Warriors, they're still alive here.
Well, you talk about a 15-man effort. It all started on the far corner with Vanacolo. Great run, he missed a pass with Tonata Lauti, but then Lauti was there first to pick him back up and clean up the ruck. And then a couple of phases across the field, big pass over the top, and credit Josh Anderson for keeping that ball alive on the corner. And then finally in the hands of the impact sub Ray Forrester, and the former BYU prop puts it down for the Warriors, and just like that.
Well, conversion unsuccessful. It's a 3-point ball game.
Look at the run by Tamilau.
Eric, can you check with the TV guy what our TV time is?
Here it is, bounces the ball, sits up. Anderson does well. I thought nothing was going to stop Uhila at that point.
What does that mean?
It's Forrester. Well, folks, do not leave your couches. Grab the oxygen tank, strap yourselves in. We have got one heck of a finish coming your way.
And Derek Summers calls time off because if you could award the delay of game penalty right here, you would. Howden,
About a
minute left.
Yeah, let's go.
Crucial restart here.
Yeah.
Puts that one deep. Jensen this time. No mistake. Who's it going to be? Who's the hero? Who steps up here? Is it the Warriors or New Orleans? Lenahan out the back. Here's Big Maka Tamalau. The crowd, they get to their feet. Tamalau finds Uhila. The Warriors already up to the halfway line after one phase.
They don't need to get it all back at once. You don't have to play desperate. You just have to keep possession.
That's right, Brian. Of course, full time comes when play is dead, not when the siren goes at 80 minutes. As McClellan brings it down now with Nichols. Well, my fingernails are absolutely gone at the moment. This game hangs on a nice edge here.
They're a pod of Utah Warriors. They're all walking. They got nothing left.
Lenahan, he comes out to that pod. Soloi. He's isolated, needs some support. Lenahan, across field, Lenahan, he needs support too. Howden, he wraps the fly half up. The Warriors maybe just need to take a phase or two tight here, Brian, just to get their breath back.
Yeah, and if you're NOLA Gold, you're not even going to compete at the ruck here. You're just going to spread out, play defense.
Nichols, dummies. They're waiting for that isolation from the Warriors. Right now, the Warriors are going backwards with the ball in hand. As Williams, all it takes is one missed tackle though. Lenahan to the line. That pass doesn't find its mark. And you would think that will wrap it up. Howden, sideline, there's the boot. They've held on, New Orleans. Derek Summers, he says that's it. It's all over. And you can see bodies strewn over the turf here at Zions Bank Stadium. Brian Hightower, what a match.
Unbelievable. Well, both teams, you know, they played their hearts out. They'll both be able to go back and look at the mistake count, the knock-on count, the missed tackle count, and neither one will be satisfied with their performance. NOLA, of course, they had to have a win. They'll still need a little bit of help.
Okay,
Man, just non-stop.
Sorry, Brian, we're going to go down to Stacey Pates with a man whose blood pressure is probably through the roof right now. Does he have any of his hair left, Stacey?
I think he does have a good head of hair left. We're going to talk about how they gritted this one out because, listen, it's acceptable to be defeated by a man's game, but not by a man's effort. Talk about the effort it took to get this win. This is huge.
It was massive. It was a huge effort by the boys. We've really let ourselves down the last 3 weeks, and we really took ourselves out of that, you know, like putting our control in a playoff system, and all we wanted to do was get respect back. And I think today we came here and we proved it. We gutted it out, and we got respect back from this season. So. And
you can't coach grit, and we saw that from both sides this afternoon. Talk about when you came down from the box. Head coaches elect to always stay upstairs. What brought you down?
I just wanted to get on the sideline with the boys and feel the energy, and also get down here and give a little bit of energy as well, just to like drive them through that last little bit. That last minute was tough, and we knew that we had to man up and aim up, so we did.
Well, your presence was felt, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Guys.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Nate. We're going to take a short break. When we return, all the highlights from this absolute cracker of a match. 89 points scored. New Orleans, they get the win over Utah.
got it kind of cut off, but okay, go real quick. Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. Go ahead and go. Thank you, guys. Good game. Thanks, guys. Good game. Where you guys headed? Okay, you got the stroller. Yeah, go ahead and go.
Major League Rugby on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Tullamore Dew, the original triple blend Irish whiskey. And by X-Blades, official technical kit supplier of Major League Rugby.
And welcome back to Salt Lake City, Utah, where New Orleans, they've got the boil over on the road, 46 points to 43 over Utah. We're going to drop back onto the field now with our man of the match, who's with Stacey Pate, and that's their fly half, JP Eloff.
That's right. He finished today's match off with a nice little drop goal. It's been a while since you've done that.
Yeah, it definitely has. I guess the opportunity presented itself and took advantage of it. Yeah.
And today was a day of taking advantage of situations because we heard the coach's perspective moments ago. Tell us your perspective when you're up against such a physical and quick running team.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can't give that team any chance. Like you saw, if you didn't execute a perfect kick, they would definitely take advantage of it and make you score a 90-yard try. Yeah.
How do you describe to people at home when you dig that deep? You guys did not, even at the start of the match, it was a little scary,
yeah.
But you guys did not give up the battle.
Yeah, it's one thing we've been trying to fix. We've always started kind of slow, but at least we pulled together after that first 20 and we said we can do it. We can hang with these guys, and we did. We showed ourselves that we can hang with the best, so that was good.
Always a pleasure, JP. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Oh, what a gentleman. JP Eloff, thank you, Stacey. And the highlights, they came thick and fast, Brian.
They did, and a great match from Don Potty. The scoring started early. Here's the first two tries. We mentioned before that this looked like it was going to be well in hand just after the 10-minute mark in the first half. But then all of a sudden, NOLA woke up and they started playing team ball. Smart stuff from the forwards there. Matt Houston goes over for a try. And then we mentioned how JP Eloff, after the Linehan try there, Eloff with the three-pointer, that was the crucial kick of the game. We never would have thought that. Tikoi Suva over for one as well. Potty bottled up and then throws an errant pass, and look who's on it. JP Eloff. Great game for Eloff. And then it's Troxley getting in. And then taking a page out of Don Potty's book is Anderson. And then back and forth the whole game. And my neck was getting sore from turning back and forth to see who was going to score next. Potty tries to bust through. What an amazing match on the day. You couldn't have asked for more scoring.
No, Brian, it was an absolute cracker of a match, and it finished with this turnover right here for New Orleans. That got them the win. They take the bonus point with 5. Utah significantly take 2 bonus points away. You're going to have to tune in next week as we expect Major League Rugby comes down to its final week. For Brian Hightower, Stacey Pates and our entire crew, I'm Dan Power, and this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.